My next is more of a comment than a question. I'm embarrassed. I think it's embarrassing and irresponsible of our board that we were getting this extra $150,000 a year because of Boys Home, and we just put that into our general operating budget. I think this happened sometime in the early 2000s. I hope that our board, as we try to meet with Boys Home and find out what it is that they want for their students, I'm hoping that our board will be flexible, ready to do something extra, so we can work together to keep Boys Home in our school system. We've been getting $150,000 on top of our per pupil amount from the state for who knows how many years, and we've just put it right into our budget. And I don't think that the state originally gave us that money to just go into our general operating budget just because we had a foster facility, or however they say it, in our community. I think that we really need to use that money to benefit them, and I think if we would have been using it all along, that we wouldn't have this problem right now with Boys Home, and we probably wouldn't have lost them. But hopefully we can figure out what they want. We can do what's best for their residents and our students. When we lose $500,000 in our budget, it is huge. And I think after meeting with Boys Home several times, I can understand some of their concerns, but I also think that we've really been benefiting from Boys Home and not reciprocating what's been going on. So I really hope that everyone is willing to work with Boys Home, see what we need to do to keep them in our system, and we'll see where that goes. We had a good meeting with them the other day. I don't know if there's any way we can keep them in our system or not, but we really need to be flexible when it comes to that. And my other thing is
Mr. Wright, can I comment on that?
Yes, sir.
As you know, we've been meeting with them, and we're going to continue to meet with them as long as they're willing to meet. I agree with you that, and we've reached out to them, that with the particularly at-risk funding and the foster funding, what do they need in addition to help? But we would plan on doing that. That would come from our recommendation as well. I do think the crux of the issue has to do with them choosing to go to private school where they do not have to take SOLs. They feel pretty strongly, as you know, that their students may have a hard time passing SOLs, and also a little bit with the curriculum. So if we can work through that based on our last meeting, we'll look positively and see if we can still work with them. So
I just think that we have a lot to offer them. I feel like if we are willing to make an effort to, if we're willing to really make an effort to keep them in our system, I don't think that that will leave.
And it goes back to providing the needs for each student they have out there.
Right.
And we're committed to do that.
And that $150,000, as far as I'm concerned, that is money that we should be earmarked. And I don't think it should have ever been a part of our budget. I think it should have been earmarked for things related to Boys Home, because they are 100% the only reason we get that money. So, to keep them in our system is very important, because also of our, I hate to make this all sound like money, but to me, a lot of it is. I want what's best for the students, but I also have to look out for our other students and our tax base. We're talking about losing $500,000 to our local economy. If they do go private, they won't get any funding from the state at all. So we're basically forfeiting $500,000 from the state that could be used in our local economy. My next thing is the PILT money. I really think that we need to really crack down on and have a real letter writing campaign. And that's so much of Alleghany County is national forest. They don't spend much money on the national forest, that's for sure. And I'm worried that our $250,000 from the Board of Supervisors, I'm worried that they're not going to give us that extra funding. And then I'll wonder where we're going from there.
Well, we talked a little bit about that with the surplus that we'd have this year coming up, that could be a possibility could fill in for there. So it's preliminary on that, and a lot of variables in there. But when we looked at that 2-year budget, it wasn't so much to look at that per se, but it was to look to see if we can't add anything new, because it's going to be an operating budget next year. So there'll be a lot of variables between now and then. The frustrating thing about the campaign and writing letters for the bill is we have both our senators and our congressmen on board on that, okay? And so now we're going to write letters to others in the country. I'm not sure how much weight that will have with them because we're not constituents of those. But we have written letters. I've gotten responses back from Congressman Morgan, Senator Kane's office, and also Senator Warren's office have been very proactive on it. We've written them about the E-rate as well funding. They've been very proactive on that. I want to commend our staff for being willing to do the extra research to provide to me so I can send those letters when it relates to those. So we'll continue to work at that. The AASA monitors it for us at the national level. They provide weekly updates, sometimes twice a week of where we are. So we'll continue to go after it. I agree with you on that.
Right. There's a comment I'd like to make when we talked about the money that the school division received from Boys Home. I was on the board when they came back and asked us to take them back in. And we were glad to do that and help them out from where they were at. That money was spent on teachers. It was spent on buses. It was spent on raises. It was spent on everything that our teachers did for Boys Home. It's not like it was just one option that they should have got all their money, because we provided all the services, right down to the sports and everything that they played in, to the textbooks that they read from. If they were still in the school division, right down to the Chromebooks that they'd be receiving. That money paid for all of that, so it wasn't like it was just put in the budget. It was part of operating with them. If they would come back again, we could probably reconsider where the money went to. But at the time that we took them back in, that money's put in the budget. For that reason, we were spending that money on everybody in the school division, including everything that they got and everything that those 50 or so students got cost way more than the $500,000 you're looking at. So there was a lot that went into that. So if they want to come back, they'll be welcome. I hope they do stay. I think it'd be great, and I appreciate you and Gerald meeting with them several times, and Gene to talk to them to see if they would stay, because I think they stand so much more to lose by withdrawing from the system just because they don't want to do SOS. I hope that's not their case. But our school divisions provided a lot for them since I think it was 2001 or 2002 that they came back in. So we did a lot for them, and we should continue to work with them. They need to be part of our school division, because what they're going to lose by just keeping those students at Boys Home is going to be huge to them. The social skills that they're going to lose by not being in a full setting with all different groups of people, playing sport. Big thing, new tech for them, they would lose out on. And I hate to see them miss out on that, because I think that's going to be great for everybody. So there's actually a lot went into that when the school division took them back. And I think it might have been 2001, 2002 time frame.
I think this, but I think this $150,000 came in, and it sounded like 2005, 2006, somewhere in that time frame.
We can go back and research. I didn't go.
I mean, that was quite a while after they came back to our school system. You know, when we do things like, you know, leave things out of the budget because we're not sure of it, like the PILT funding, you know, we left that out a couple of years ago. We can't trust that money's always going to be available. And so it was probably a bad plan to put that money into our general operating, that $150,000. That's hindsight, but you know, I would like to see us work with them and figure out what we can do to make everybody satisfied. And you know, I would hate to see us lose those students. And you know, I think we offer them great opportunity. I think Boys Home offers them great opportunity as well. I applaud Boys Home for what they do and the students that they, you know, the young men that they create and help mold. But as a financial part of things, I would hate to see our local economy lose $500,000.
Well, we're pledged to continue to work together, okay? And you can say this year doesn't work out real well, we're not gonna not stop working. So,
Scope, I think that's one of those meetings too. According to them, this has never been a money issue. Okay? Because they're going to end up paying all this themselves. What their issues, at least what I understood these meetings was, the SOLs, as you said, and the curriculum. Okay? And they want to have more control over their boys' time. And that's been the issues. They've never said that we provided less schooling because we told them we graduated 100% of their boys. But it's always been the SOLs, curriculum, and time on the hill. They want them to have more time on the hill to learn more social skills, to have more control over how the behavior, how to live life after school. But I don't think it's ever been a money thing, at least according to.
I don't either. I don't think that Boys Home is doing it for a money thing. I mean, they're not going to get any state funding if they do this. I think that a lot of it is service based. I mean, the type of service that they want to have. They have certain ideals for their boys, and it's, can we provide those services or can they provide those services? And I think that personally, I think that we can work together to provide services. I think we are the educational part, and they're the soft skills, and they're the ones that are they're the parents. And I don't think at all it's because of money. I worry for our sake because of the money, but I also think that with that money, we could do things that would be beneficial to them and make them more likely to stay in our system.
Just so everybody knows, at our meeting, we told them in no uncertain, just right up front and honest, that we want to know what the barriers was between them staying here and what we needed to do. Okay, that we can legally do, and the ball was in their court. I mean, we've asked them, tell me the obstacle that you have for your boys coming to our school. Isn't that what we did, Jake?
Yes, sir.
And it's in their court. I mean, we're waiting for them to say, here's where our problem is, and we've told them, okay, if you have an issue, let's work on it. And if it's humanly possible, we're going to work on it. Some things we can't change. We cannot change the SOLs. We can't just change our curriculum to meet their guidelines. So if it can be done, we have told them up front, we're willing to do it.
We'll continue to work, no question about it. Like I said, if things don't work out this year, we'll continue to work on them the following year. I think it's every barrier they brought up, we've offered a solution. They were happy with it. I think it comes down to a philosophical thing. I agree with you, Ms. Wright, it has nothing to do with money, but that lack of funding affects the entire school division. But I think it comes down to philosophy about the SOLs and about the content that's being taught sometimes. And that's a philosophical decision that they might feel that they can answer better through a private school versus staying with the public school. So, but we'll continue to work with them. Since I've been here, I've enjoyed working with Mr. Wheatley and continue to work with them. I've been to one of their board meetings in Richmond. I'll attend another board meeting if necessary. You know, we have to reach out and be a friend to them. So we'll continue that. I pledge that to you. All right, absolutely. So.
Back where we were, we do need to have an addition to the agenda. We have to vote on that. And that addition is going to be, what's going to be called?
We'd like to amend the 2017-2018 legislative priorities to include to the Commonwealth of Virginia to fund our nurses and administrative positions in our schools.
Okay.
Do you want to say fully fund or?
I'd say fully
fund,
yes.
Okay.
Our nursing program, and I'll emphasize again what the young lady said tonight, more parents are using our nurses as the first defense for our kids.
Okay, Ms. Best, you have that written down. What you'll do, we'll pass that to Ms. Best once we vote on it so she can enter it into the record. Would you read it again, please, of what the addition to the agenda will be?
A motion that we amend our 2017-2018 legislative priorities to include that the Commonwealth of Virginia fully fund our nurses and the administrative positions in all of our schools.
Okay.
Need a motion?
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
To add this to the agenda, it'll be 18-197 and it will be inserted after 18-194. Roll call, please.
Mr. Branson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Mr. Bursinger?
Yes.
Ms. Seichner?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, that now being inserted into the agenda, it'll be 18-197 inserted after 18-194 under other business.
Last thing to say on the budget is that we'll continue to update you as we get changes. If you got questions, please email us or call us. And of course, if I respond to everybody, just remember for you just to respond to me. But we will definitely keep you updated as we go on. And we're going to keep working with Richmond and our delegates and Senator to make sure that we funding. I'll share one thing with you. I was looking at Petersburg today. Petersburg is a school division. I think their composite English is 0.2 are very close. They receive $1,500 more per student, okay? If we took the 2,000 students and times $1,500 more, that's $3 million. Just think what we could do if we have the equitable funding with our staff and raises for our staff and what we could do for our students with that additional money on a yearly basis.
But then we'd have to live in Petersburg.
Well, but I always want to know when we look at the composite index, where's the funding discrepancies?
I can tell you stories about Petersburg.
All right, okay, we won't go there.
Can I say one thing? So, just so everybody doesn't misunderstand, the budget going forward that we're looking at, really, that typically we would be looking at, we're not in trouble with that budget. We actually have a surplus.
Yes,
It's the following year, when the composite index changes, that's what really gets us. That's
Yes.
$700,000 additional that we have to come up with. So, just want to make sure everybody's understanding that. This coming year, we're not in trouble. We're just trying to look out ahead because we know it's going to be a big hit then.
and that's unusual for the composite
It
index to change during the 2-year cycle when it doesn't.
It makes doing a budget very challenging.
Thank you.